Kirsten's always smart and entertaining. And she's among the most highly ranked estate planning attorneys in Walnut Creek. Her firm's area of expertise include estate planning, trust administration, Medi-Cal planning, probate, retirement asset planning, and special needs planning. Kirsten began her law career as a business planning attorney, but soon realized estate planning and elder law were her passion. Kirsten Howe provides easy legal solutions for every client and prides herself on long-lasting relationships. Here's Kirsten.
Thank you all for having me. And Laura, thank you for that lovely introduction. My topic tonight is contingency planning. In my view, there are 3 different contingencies that can affect your business. What I want you to bear in mind is that every business is different. I'm not going to get you a contingency plan for your business because I don't know your business. But what we're going to talk about are the issues that you need to think about. So by the end, you should be able to have something of a checklist. I belong to a coaching group, so I meet with a business coach once a quarter, and every quarter we get assignments. In this last quarter, we've been actually working on a contingency plan. It's so many things that I hadn't thought about, and so we've just thought it would be a great thing to share with you all. So when you're creating a contingency plan for your business, there are a few basic steps that you need to do. The first one is going to be, we have to identify the risks that our businesses are subject to. The first category are kind of those acts of God risks. Earthquake, whatever your business is, an earthquake would affect. Whatever your business is, a fire would affect you. So these acts of God, kind of external disasters. We all deal with data in some fashion in our businesses. You could suffer a data breach. You could have a technology issue. We depend upon a telephone. I mean, every business needs a telephone. Identifying these kinds of risks is important. This is probably the hardest one to do planning for is your people. What are the risks to the people in your business? Many of us are solos. We own our business and we might be the only ones who work in our business. So now I'm talking about you as the business owner. But if you have employees, an employee could quit, an employee could get transferred with their spouse, an employee could go on maternity leave. So these things happen. The owner of the business is probably your greatest vulnerability. You've got to plan for things that could happen to the owner. It could be a temporary absence because of a health issue. It could be a long-term absence, also health, or it could be a permanent absence. Now, this is the category of risks that I'm going to call industry or market risks. And this one is very particular to your business. What you're exposed to is going to be different from what I'm exposed to. So litigation. Some of your businesses, that's not something that you would ever have to worry about. In my business, we worry about litigation because attorneys do get sued. You could be in an industry that is subject to changes in the law. About 4 years ago, there was a pretty dramatic change in the estate tax law, which made it so that the kind of very advanced tax planning that some very wealthy people need to do, very few people have to do that anymore. And that affected a lot of my colleagues because they were playing in that space. That wasn't my space, so it didn't affect me, but that was a big change and we didn't exactly see that coming. If you're someone who sells goods, having some kind of supply chain issue, the Port of Oakland goes on strike, or there's a tariff all of a sudden, or some kind of a trade embargo, these kinds of things, and you can't suddenly get your products from China, that could be a problem. Once you have identified the risks that your business is exposed to, you've got to figure out what are the really absolutely essential things. The first is the physical requirements. What kind of space does your business? In my business, we have a lot of human contact. I meet every one of my clients, and I usually meet them 2 times or 3 times. I need a conference room, or at a very minimum, I need a table and 3 chairs. If something dramatic happened in my office, I'd have to figure that out. We would need telephones. We have to be able to call our clients. We need computers. Supplies, again, depending on your business, if you're selling something, you need inventory or you need the supplies to create the inventory. In my office, probably the only supply that we absolutely need besides coffee is paper. We need a lot of paper. In my office, the technology that we absolutely need includes our drafting software. You might not know this, but when an attorney sits down to write a will or a trust, they're not just making it up in their head and typing it out. We use software. I need my client database. I can't do anything without access to that technology in my calendaring system. And I'm just going to also say, I need access to my QuickBooks. Without my billing and accounting software, I could get my work done, but I would make no money. What kind of technology and data do you absolutely need to keep the doors open? And then again, the people. In my business, without me, probably about 80% of the work could continue to get done. But there's that 20% of the work that only I know how to do, or I've hoarded it to myself and nobody else could ever figure it out, or it's so crazy that nobody would want to figure it out. And you might think about what other aspects of people, what they do, what their knowledge is in your business, if you have employees or you have partners, who does what, and trying to replace those people. So once you've identified the risks and you figured out what you really need to keep your business moving, how are you going to protect against those risks? And when I hear the word protection, first thing I go to is insurance. Business insurance, obviously, if somebody hurts themselves on your premises or your business burns up in a fire, you need the money to replace that stuff. Professional liability insurance, you may be in a business where you need to have that. Health insurance is not to be overlooked. Hopefully we all have that and we all realize the benefit of it. But if you are the primary person in your business is all about you, you've got to keep yourself healthy. I've also got disability insurance on there, possibly bridge yourself if you're not able to work for some period of time. And then I put long-term care insurance. How are you going to protect your data? Obviously, you're going to back it up. You don't want your data in only one place. If my office burned down, I could download my drafting software onto another machine that same day. It would not be a problem. If you're dependent upon technology, some software or something like that, make sure that you have a way to get back to it. How do you protect the people who do critical things, and they are the ones who know how to do those things? You should have written job descriptions for every position in your office, including your own. And by that I mean really detailed. This is everything that I do. You want to try and cross-train. You don't want to have just one person who can do the really critical thing. You should have written procedures for everything that you do in your office. You've identified the risks, you've identified what are the essentials in your business, and you've identified how you're going to protect against them. And I'm just going to advocate that you then walk yourself through a variety of scenarios. I'm advocating that you actually walk through these scenarios because in your head you're going to come up with holes in your plan. The building is burning down. What do? What do we grab? Where do we go? You need to know that stuff. Where are we going to meet up so that we know everybody's safe? Can your staff, if you have multiple staff members, can they communicate with each other? Do you all have each other's cell phone numbers? Do you have a list of your employee emergency contacts? So you can call your assistant's husband and say, she's okay. There's a fire in the office. We're going to grab that grab-and-go bucket because I want to be standing out in the parking lot calling my insurance company. I don't want to be standing there going, is it Farmers or State Farm? I don't know. As I said, grab-and-go bucket, first aid kit, emergency supplies. Where are the urgent care centers near our office? This one is a little harder to talk about on the industry type of crisis or the market type of crisis. And I mentioned that I'm part of a coaching group. We get together about 25 attorneys once a quarter, and they aren't all estate planning attorneys. There are many other types of attorneys. Several of them are personal injury attorneys. They can see these driverless cars. They're coming, and these guys make their money off of car accidents. So this is a crisis in their industry. What would you do if something similar happened in your industry? Stay informed, read, know what's going on in your industry, save money, monitor your business, keep networking. If your business really does suffer a lot of hardship, maybe you're going to say, well, it's time for me to get a job. The big one that you kind of have to walk through is the owner's absence or the key employee's absence. And how you're going to deal with that depends on a lot of variables. Is it a permanent absence? Is it a temporary absence? That's going to determine what you're going to have to do. Are you going to be shutting the business down? Are you going to be just getting the work in the pipeline through? How are you going to explain this to clients? What's going to happen? If it's going to involve calling people, clients or affiliates or prospects, be prepared. Have some scripts written out for what you would want somebody to say if you can't be the one making those calls. If you're doing your planning, you need to pick a successor, somebody who can do what you do, and it might be two people. In my office, some of the things that I do, only an attorney can do. So think about that in your industry. Are there licensing requirements when you're trying to select a successor? Could be an employee, could be a colleague, could be a family member. Think about what that successor is going to be doing. Are they going to be reaching out to clients? Are they going to be actually bringing in more business? Or are they just going to be dealing with the business that needs to be dealt with? Are they going to shut the business down? Do they have to transfer client files to somebody else to finish up the work that you've started? Are we going to return client money because we didn't finish what we said we would do? You've got to give the successor the legal authority to do what needs to be done. It's great to have this plan, but if nobody legally can help you, you know, your bills have to get paid, checks have to be signed, but you're the only signer on the account. That's a problem. So you might consider having a co-signer on an account to help pay bills when they need to be paid. If this company needs to be sold, if the company can be sold, long-term absence, the business might have to be shut down. And you want somebody who has the legal authority to do all the things involved in shutting the business down. What that might mean is you need to have a trust that owns your business so that a successor trustee can take over. One of the key things that you need to create legal authority in another person is a power of attorney. It's a very critical estate planning document, but it's also a business planning document. You can give somebody else legal authority to run your business through a power of attorney. You assign a successor, you've identified a successor, you've given them the legal authority they need, you've got to help them. If all of your accounts are hidden and they don't know where to find anything, they're not going to be able to help you. So maybe you want to sit down with the successor you've identified and just walk them through. Look, this is what I have, or this is where you're going to find things. Last step, you've got to update your plan. I would review it every year. Things change. If you are interested in a blank of a power of attorney, you can send me a text and I will send it back to you. Thank you very much. You were very